Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Mario, and I would like to welcome you into another episode of the Random Select Podcast. This is the podcast that's all about thought-provoking talk, right here on Atlanta's new underground station, Beat Break 87 FM, where music and talk radio lives. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. I truly appreciate it. You could be anywhere else, but you choose to hang out with your man Mario inside the Random Select Podcast, and that's always a good thing. Real quick, guys, don't forget, go ahead and share. Let everybody know that we're out here. We're everywhere social media is at. So if you can't find us, you're just not looking for us. Don't forget, you can go to beatbreakradiofm.com, click on that listen now button, listen live button. It'll bring you in right to where you need to be. And that's right here with your man. Or you can go to therandomselect.com, click on that listen live, and it'll bring you into the podcast. Yeah, definitely liking the new time slot. We're in prime time, baby. So I've always considered myself a prime time player, you know. But don't we all? But today we're gonna have a good show. Today we're gonna be talking about my dreaded subject, these kids, and what's going on with them and why they are like they are. We're gonna be talking about things that, you know, black mamas say, you know, what they used to say. But I know I still say certain things to my kids that my mom used to say to me, even though you grew up and you swore. When I got grown and I have my own kids, I'm never going to say the stuff that they said to me. But yeah, you do. You know, you can't help it. It's ingrained in your DNA to take upon some of the personalities of your mom, your papa, whoever it is who are responsible for raising you, your guardian, auntie, grandma, whoever, you know. Just because someone's a mother or father doesn't make them a parent. You know what I mean? You're a mother or father, but, you know, hey, that's neither here nor there. But, yeah, we're going to talk about that in this particular segment. And also coming up in the show, I want to play you a little something that Stokely Carmichael said a while back that holds true, might ring true to this day, might would have changed the course of how we are in this country or where we are at in this country if we would have did that one particular thing. So keep it locked right here. Stay tuned for all that stuff coming up. Yeah, don't forget you could go to the website, therandomselect.com, catch some of the past podcasts. I'm doing my best to get them all up, guys. So bear with me. You know, I redesigned the website myself, and I'm not a web designer, so it's really bare bones until I can get somebody in to come and design it for me, but I did it myself, so I'm proud of myself. I give myself kudos for that. So just bear with me, you know, when it comes to the website. But I'm getting everything up, getting everything ready, and gonna start pumping out these episodes. I'm in prime time, baby. So I'm gonna have a few more people on. Gonna have guests and things of that nature. We're gonna do a few more skits, just switch up some of the segments, and yeah, hopefully it's gonna be an exciting time. And thanks to Sean Garber for giving me an opportunity to be bumped up to this time slot where potentially we could reach a few more people, and a few more people need to let a few more people know that we're out here and we're getting this thing done right here on the Random Select Podcast. All right, let's get into it, people. So, you guys know that the video has circulated of the teacher. I guess this happened last week sometime, you know, and the teacher had got fired for swinging on this kid. At this particular point, once they step into that man's realm, to me, he's not a kid. I don't care what anybody say, for all the naysayers and all the people that's taking up for this kid, calling him a kid. No, once you decide to cross over into a man's world, you have to be treated as such. And I've been taught that from the time I came out my mom's womb, is that if you want to act like a man, be prepared for someone to treat you like a man. So he wanted to act like a man, and he got treated like a man. So that's all you can really say about that. And for all y'all people that saying, oh, he shouldn't have put his hand on a teacher. The teacher shouldn't have put his hand on a student. But at some point, when do being a human comes into play? When does being a human enter the picture at some point? Because there's only so much you could take. It's only so much you can deal with, you know what I mean? It's only so much that as a human being and as a man, and I know we harp on being what a man is. I'm a man. Oh, I'm being a man. I know we harp on that too much. You know what I mean? I know we put too much stock into that particular phrase. He was just being a man. Oh, I'm a man. I know that. But in this particular situation, this is one of the times where it's not being put too much stock in. This is one of the time where it actually applies. You know what I mean? So I'm saying all this to say that if this young man decided that today was the day where he feel he could take this man, then so be it, right? If he feel that he can, he felt that today was the day he was going to get some kudos, or I guess try to impress a girl in the class, or try to impress some of his fellow classmates, then he was sadly mistaken, right? And before we even go any further into that, let me just give you the backstory of this teacher, right? It was said, it was reported on the CBS News affiliate in, I guess, Los Angeles or wherever this happened at. And pardon me for not knowing where this took place. I had my show notes, but for whatever reason right now, I guess I didn't put that in them. But it's what was reported that just last year, this teacher went to break up a fight, and then the people that was fighting ended up jumping him. So now, if you put all this into the proper context, this teacher said to himself, I promise you, this teacher said to himself, never fucking again. Never again will I allow this to happen to me. I'm going to get them little bastards before they get me. I promise you, that was his thought process in this whole thing. I'm going to get them little fuckers before they get me. Because if you the type of person who's been jumped before, and you's the type of person who been teaching long enough to understand that today's course student is not the same as 10 years ago. It's not the same as 15 years ago. Not the same as when we was going to school, where the teachers had respect, commanded respect and demanded respect. Well, now teachers seem like, I mean, you treat them like they the person who's asking to wipe your windshield when you go up to Quick Trip or a gas station. You know, the crackhead that's offering to wipe your windshield for $3. That's the way we treat teachers now. And ultimately, the teachers are the ones just trying to get your dumbass kids to a certain point where they could be productive in life and be productive in society. But we can't see that because a lot of y'all dumbass parents will go out there and defend these kids. Why you talking to my kid that way? Why my kids got to be secluded or treated that way? Why my kid got to be put in time out? Why my kid can't do what the other kids doing? Because somewhere along the way, you have resided yourself to thinking that your kid is super duper extremely special and deserves special treatment over everybody else, when your kid is the one displaying bad behavior, being disrespectful, but you can't see the forest for looking at the trees, and the tree is your badass kid. The forest is the whole ecosystem that needs to be preserved by making sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to do as far as the discipline go. And y'all notice when y'all parents started getting to the point where they say you don't whoop your kids anymore, you put them on punishment, you put them on timeout, you notice once ass whippings went down, problems with the kids started going up. Look at that. When ass whoopings went down, problems with the kids went up. Keep that in mind. Now think about that. And I know y'all gonna say, oh, there go Mario on his rant again. There go Mario talking that that ill-begotten BS, right? That may be true. That may be what it ends up being, but I'm telling you, it's not. It's a direct correlation. When y'all start whooping y'all kids' asses, the kids start feeling empowered. The kids start feeling full of themselves. As my mama used to say, the kids start being too big for their britches. And once they start being too big for their britches, you can't tell them nothing. You can't tell them a damn thing. And that's why they walk out thinking they knowing everything that it is possibly to know. So that's the world we live in when it comes to these kids. And this man got jumped, and he said to himself that if the situation should ever arise again, if the situation should come to this again, I promise you I'm going to get them before they get me. And that's simply all he said. But when you think about it and you look at the video and you watch it closely and you listen to what this boy is saying to this man, he is saying the type of stuff that two dudes in the street that flat out don't like each other might say to each other. Hey, everybody gathering around because they know it's about to be a throwdown. They know some knucks about to be thrown. They know these two dudes about to duke it out. You understand? As Bernie Mac said, it's going to be a misunderstanding, going to be some furniture moving. That's the way this guy was talking to him. Like he was almost, in his mind, I guess he said to himself, I could take this old dude. I could take him. That's why I'm going to be like this. I'm going to keep walking up on him, because the teacher turned around and walked away, tried to de-escalate the situation. But once again, I tell you guys, as a man, as a human being, how much can you take from a child? How much can you take from a child that's disrespecting you before at some point you feel you have to act? And I know a lot of y'all going to disagree with me, because y'all going to say he's the teacher, he's the professional, and he should act accordingly. And I'm telling y'all, damn that. I'm telling y'all, if that was my son and this teacher did that to my son, I wouldn't have no issues with it, because my son know damn well better than to go to school cussing and calling that teacher out his name, calling a grown-ass man a bitch. Come on now. Y'all know better than that. There's no way I'm going up to that school making an ass out myself, making a mockery out myself, taking up for my son when my son was completely in the wrong. I would have said, well, guess what? You tried to act like a man, you stood up like a man, and you got your ass beat like a man. Period, point blank, end the story. And I would have had something to say to his mama if his mama would have had something to had the balls or the nerves or the wherewithal to come to me and say that, no, but he still shouldn't have done my son like that. I would have told her, get in the car, we going home. That's the end of that. He got his just due. He got his dessert. You understand? So that's part of the problem. As whippings went down, bad behavior went up. And people always talk to me and send me messages saying, you're always on this, you should whoop kids' ass thing, right? Kids should get spankings and things of that nature. Yes, I believe in spankings and butt whippings, but I don't believe in abusing them. It's a line you definitely can't cross when you come to hitting your kids. And all kids don't need it. Some kids are definitely afraid of butt whipping, so all you have to do is threaten them with it. And maybe gave them one a long time ago and they just never forgot it. And some kids, no matter what you do, how much you beat them. I'm sorry, I just condone not abusing your child, but I came back and used the word beat. Your Honor, I would like to strike that from the record. No, but no matter how much you whoop them, spank them, or however you want to use that particular word or use that phrase, however you choose to do it, some kids ain't going to get right. Some kids ain't going to do right no matter how you do it, no matter what you do, they ain't going to get right. They just feel that, hey, I want to do what I want to do, and that's that. You know what I'm saying? And you can't even be mad at them. I mean, you can be mad at them, but those are the kids that are headstrong and just feel they're going to do it their way, and that's the only way it's going to be done. So some kids' punishments work. Some kids taking away their possessions work. It just depends on, you got to know the pulse of your child. But you know inherently, if you have a bad ass child, if he don't listen to you at home and you are the sole provider for him, the one person that cares for him, got his back no matter what, who is a total stranger when he feel he could disrespect mom, when he feel he could disrespect dad? Who is the teachers? Nobody. Who is the principals? Nobody. Who is the bus driver? Nobody. Who is the cafeteria worker? Nobody. Because if he'll do it to you, common sense and placing bet money on says that he will do it to them as well. So keep that in mind when y'all talking about, oh, he shouldn't have put his hands on that child. No, I agree with you 100%. He definitely shouldn't put his hands on a child. But at that particular time, that wasn't no child anymore, people. That child had stepped out of his kid's shoes, stepped out of his kid's clothes, stepped out of his kid's body, and decided that that day right there, he was going to become a man. And when you act like a man, you get treated accordingly. And that's just the bottom line. Period. Point blank. And I know, like I said, you guys don't, a lot of guys are going to always side always going to choose the child side. I get that, and I ain't even mad at you. I understand where you're coming from, but sometimes you got to open up your brain just a little bit. You got to listen to this thought-provoking talk and understand that some children, once they do certain things, have cast themselves up out the kid's role and into the adult role. And you have to be prepared for what may come when you do that. But because you're not prepared for what may come still lets everybody around you know that you're still a damn child. So act accordingly. All right, we're gonna leave that particular part talking about the kids right there. You know what I mean? I wanna get into this next part where I talk about you know how your mom always telling you certain things that you just know to be true. You know, certain things like, when you're done in this room, turn off the light. Don't leave my water running. I don't know, close that front door, you're letting all my air out. Certain things like that. But when I saw this particular lady do this particular skit, it cracked me the hell up, because it sounded like my mom when I was young, when she was talking about how, boy, you better bring back this coat, because I'm not trying to pay for other kids to be warm. I'm not trying to have you go to the hospital. Everything that this woman said in this piece reminds me of my mom. At some point or another throughout my childhood, this was said to me, you know, and at some point or another throughout my kids' childhood, this is the stuff I've said to them. And it just, I mean, I don't know how you guys may find it, but it's like things that all black mamas say, and it is hilarious. All right, so real quick, check this out.
Hey, let me tell you something before you leave out that door, son. Bring that coat back. Bring the coat back. Every year, you feel like you got to be a blessing to somebody else. You leave it on the playground. Leave it on the bus. Somehow it end up in the lost and found. Every single year, you just forgot your coat. How you forget your coat? Ain't you freezing, son? Ain't you cold? You lose that coat this year, I don't know what you're going to do for the rest of the winter. Honey, you're going to have to comfort your elbows and shiver your shoulders. I don't know. And I tell you another thing. I'm not sitting up at no emergency room all night because you done got cold. I ain't talking to no doctor. I ain't talking to no nurse. Ain't nobody going to triage me. You may get pneumonia. May even get the flu. You may get the whooping cough. Ain't got nothing to do with it, son. Bring the coat back home. That's all I can tell you. And how you lose a coat you didn't buy. You can't afford to lose no more jackets. Bring my jacket back home. Hey, let me tell you something before you leave out that door, son. Bring that coat.
All right, so y'all see what I'm saying. I mean, it was one of them type of things where if you did not come back with your coat, your mom was gonna make you go back up to that school, or you better find it tomorrow. You just know that coat better come back home. Because I remember times going to Lost and Found, can't find my coat. Hell, I just picked up a coat and brought it back home and said, Mama, I couldn't find my coat, but I got me a better one. She's like, boy, that's not the coat I bought you. But you got good taste, boy. I'll give it to you. So, you know, it's just amazing. I just wanted to throw that little thing in there just to put a little something in there just to say, you know, because my mom, she's long since passed, but it just reminds me of how much I miss her. You know, as soon as I heard that, I was like, God, you know, I miss my mama. And the reason my mama is gone because of that ill-begotten little thing called cancer. And I've said this 1,000 times. If cancer was a person, hook, crook, or sink, I would whoop cancer's ass. Straight up. Don't care if the police was watching. Be like 2 Chainz. I don't care if the feds watching. Woo! I don't care. I don't care who watching. I would just take cancer and do my best. It'll be one of them fight to the finish type things. It'll be like Mortal Kombat. Round 1, fight! And we'd be just a fight to the finish. Because cancer, at its core, is taking so many beautiful people away from this world. Cancer, at its core, is just taking so many angels that could be here still doing good work for this world. But the Christians and anybody who says to say that God are calling his warriors home. And for a long time, I was so conflicted with this, so conflicted with that saying, because I'm saying in the process of you calling your warriors home, God, you're leaving a lot of people down here broken, incomplete, going through depression, missing their loved ones over cancer. And a lot of the things that we learned over time that causes cancer, we used to think it was power lines, microwaves, cell phones to your head. And we finding out that it's a lot of everyday products that we're using. It's a lot of everyday products that we're eating. It's a lot of everyday products that we're rubbing on our bodies and consuming that's causing cancer. When the companies are to the point where at some point they realize that baby powder is causing cancer, they realized it a while back, sent the memo around, they still just didn't care. There's nobody says you have to stop making your product, but can you just take the cancer causing parts out your product? To me, it seems like it would be easier. You would care about people living, and it would be less people dying if you just take the cancer causing products the cancer causing ingredients out your products. Same thing with Subway, and they was putting flame retardant stuff that's used to make bulletproof vests and flame retardant seats in their bread. I mean, how do the FDA, our government that is supposedly there to help protect us, and I use that really loosely, supposedly there to protect us, allow this to happen? Tell me. I mean, if you guys know, I would love to hear in the comments. You tell me how all this can happen on our watch. We got certain countries around the world that will not even let certain U.S. beef into their country because it's considered poison. We got people that are using the same thing that's in paint thinners and paint stripper in our kids' cereal. But we can't figure out why all the kids are ADD, all the kids are autistic, all the kids are aggressively violent. But you don't understand, each and every day you feeding them something that potentially deteriorates from their mental stability. Each and every day we are eating things that are causing us to die at such a rapid rate. We are eating and drinking things every day that have caused dialysis centers to pop up on the corners like they gas stations. Everywhere you go now, you see a dialysis center because people, organs, and kidneys are failing at such an incredible rapid rate that now we see mom and pop up dialysis centers and shop little strip malls. How is that possible that the government that is supposedly supposed to be taking care of us keep allowing this to happen on their watch? Tell me, how can that possibly be? Who's letting this happen? And then y'all get mad because y'all we want people to get out and vote. We want people to try to do their best to try to make a change and try to do something different because we tired of the status quo. The country's tired of the status quo because it's only profiting the people who's at the top of the food chain. Everybody else who's at the bottom of the food chain is only getting the crumbs that's falling at the top of the people food chain mouth. So how is that possible? How can we continue to let the government pretty much in all honesty kill us? Even though it's not the government, but if the government allowed it, if the FDA is not doing what they're supposed to do, if the EPA is not doing what they're supposed to do, we got so many plants emitting all type of harmful radiations and killing whole towns, but nobody cares because it's money. It's supposedly giving a boost to the economy. If everybody around the plant in that little town is dying and dead, explain to me who's supposed to be boosting the economy when there's nobody there to spend the money? And even if you didn't have all of that, it still boils down to common fucking decency. Just to not want to see your fellow man suffer. So, like I said, if cancer was a person, me and cancer wouldn't have any words. Soon as cancer saw me, he would know to stand on guard because it's about to be a fight. And I'm just saying, just saying all that to say that every time I think about my mom, it just pisses me off that maybe, just maybe, I could have done more, could have did something to make her understand that I love her, you know, and even though I was there with her right up until the very end, it's hard to watch somebody when you know they're dying. You know, that's a hard pill to swallow, especially when it's your mom, somebody that you love with all your heart and all your soul, your being. And I did a podcast a while back that called, you know, The Day the World Got Dimmer. And I still feel that way. Ever since my mom left this world just don't seem as bright to me. I got my kids, I got my family, I got the podcast, I got, you know, the radio show, all that keeps you going. But none of that replaces your mom. I can't call up and ask her questions. I can't call up and say, Mama, today the world was beating down on me. I just need a kind word from you, Mama. And my mom, she was a character, you know. She would always tell me her number one phase was, I used to walk around and say, oh, I'm going to be a football player. Oh, I'm going to be this. And she'll see me playing video games, and she would say, the very first step to doing all that, you got to get up off your ass. That's what she would say to me. You got to get up off your ass if you want to be rich, you know. And every time I think about it, it just brings a smile to my face, because she was right. You want something, you got to get out there and you got to get it. You got to understand that nobody's going to give you anything. And if they do, they rarely do. The thing that you want the most, nobody's going to sit in your lap and make it happen. You got to get out there and you got to prove to the world that this is what you want. You got to prove to yourself that's what you want. So get out there and get it. But I just wanted to play that little thing for you guys just to show you that black mamas are still on it. That's the way my mom used to be. And I miss you, Marianne. Just want to let you guys into that, you know what I mean? And just say that we got some reforming we need to do with the healthcare system. We got some reforming we need to do with the EPA. We got some reforming we need to do with the FDA. And y'all know as a whole, I already said government is broke. Not broke in the traditional sense where the money is gone. I'm talking about broke as in the thermostat don't work anymore, broke. And like I said a couple weeks ago, we should have a motto in America, especially the American politicians. Our motto should be America. We'll deal with that shit later. So that's all I can say about that. All right, guys, we are definitely up against the break. I want to just tell you, thank you guys for hanging out with me inside the Random Select Podcast. It's the podcast that's all about thought-provoking talk right here on Beat Break 87, Atlanta's new underground station where music and talk radio lives. So coming up after the break, guys, we're going to get into a little Stokely Carmichael. He said something that was really profound that I think would have maybe changed the course of our country, you know. So with all that being said, guys, stay tuned, and I'll catch you guys after the break. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Mario, and I would like to welcome you into another episode of the Random Select Podcast. It's the podcast that's all about thought-provoking talk right here on Atlanta's new underground station, Beat Break 87 FM, where music and talk radio lives. I want to thank you guys for